Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it appears that I've gotten myself into quite a pickle today, and do you want to know what my crime was? I pointed out the misinformation that a content creator was blatantly spreading about Wuthering Waves and many other gacha games in their video. Yes, sirree, I have found myself in some hot water. I'm getting some callouts. People calling me a toxic creator. People saying that I'm ruining the Wuthering Waves community because I decided to say that somebody was wrong about information that they were wrong about. So I responded in that way, in this manner, because somebody decided to go ahead. Their name is Moose on Caffeine, and they made a video ranking the most free-to-play friendly games in the market. And one of the things that they noted when it came to Wuthering Waves was pretty much everything about their section being entirely wrong. They said things like, Wuwa has no soft pity. They didn't mention things like the Coral Shop, where you can buy dupes of characters for free. They didn't mention things like going ahead and actually being able to select standard weapons and the abundance of standard pulls. There was a lot that they missed in their breakdown. I simply pointed out where they were lacking in information and said, if somebody's going to make a detailed video trying to break down how free-to-play friendly a game is without playing any of those games, experiencing it themselves, I don't think it's that great of a video. You're ranking, you're going ahead, you're trying to define for players how good of a free-to-play experience a game is without playing it. And that was the conclusion I was able to draw based off the massive amount of misinformation that was in the video. This guy's ranking these games without playing them, getting a second opinion, and still fucking up a bunch of places along the line. So that's the context heading on into it. And they decided to make a response video to me for what I said about their content. And, well, boy oh boy, they're farming quite a bit of hate. They're farming quite a bit. Sate and his community try not to feel insecure about their crippling gambling addiction challenge, level impossible. Guys, are we this upset that we fucked up? Do we have to make a video like this because we fucked up and we did things that were misinfo? Who knows? So why don't we go ahead, take a look at this. The dislike ratio isn't looking that great. Let's see if this guy is spitting.
Hi, welcome back. So a couple days ago, I made a list of the least to most F2P friendly gacha games, where I rated the 9 gacha games on screen right now and ranked them from worst to best. While most rankings were pretty much very well accepted by everyone, there were 2 rankings, Wuthering Waves and Endless Zone Zero, that caught the attention of a certain Wuthering Waves community on YouTube, with the CC leading that community.
The first thing that he does is he brags about how the rankings were well received by everybody. Guys, this is like a con man going ahead and bragging about how many people he scammed. I'm glad that you were able to portray incorrect information in a manner that got people to believe you. I don't know if that's something to necessarily brag about after you've also admitted that you're wrong. Hi guys, I made a couple of regrettable mistakes. Frame 1, he brags about how well received his video was, but he's already admitted to fucking up in a bunch of places. Incredible situation over here. We've managed to try to isolate the blame around me, say that I'm the one causing the issue, when he's openly admitted to spreading misinformation. We're off to a strong start in the first 20 seconds.
Having a name that rhymes with Brain Fantas. Well, other than calling me the R word, which for some reason is
Why don't you play the clip? Also, if you look at the framing over here, this is not calling you retarded. This is asking if you're retarded. Because you said something so horrifically wrong. Because you said something that makes no sense in the framing of the game. I believe that I said this after he said there was no soft pity system in Wuwa. You want to know why I said something like this after he said there was no soft pity system in Wuwa? You want to know why? Because if I just go into Google right now, does Wuwa have soft pity? It's answered in the first question. This guy didn't even bother to look up whether the game had a soft pity just in the most accessible search engine ever. Because this is common knowledge. A year and 2 months into the game's launch. And when he said in his original video, he says in this video that Wuwa has no soft pity, I asked if he was retarded, because this is one of the most easily accessible, absurdly easy to find bits of information. You don't even have to search it up with like specific wording, and you would know that it does. You would know that it does, and if you had played the game, you would know that there's a soft pity too. And so it's incredible that this guy is now trying to frame his errors, his mistakes, his fuck-ups, and try to condemn me for them. He says I call him retarded when I'm simply asking, what the fuck is going on for somebody who's trying to do an analytical piece to miss one of the easiest to find pieces of information on the internet? I think this is a better term. Is this guy lazy? Is this guy putting no effort into his content? Is this guy just grifting and using ChatGPT to make his own videos, not doing any of his own research, putting zero effort into his content? Is that what this guy's doing instead? Maybe I should have said that, right? Maybe that would have made more sense. And honestly, considering how easy it is to look up information like this and how blatantly we're getting it wrong in our videos, am I wrong here? We're only 26 seconds in. It's a little bit rough.
Some reason is getting more normalized on Twitch, and other than his community calling me Hoyoshill, they did pretty well break down why my rating was a little off, and I do absolutely agree. I made some mistakes that I do find regrettable. However, even though I am making a response video, this is like the least serious thing ever. But the reaction of Saint and his community...
It is the least serious thing ever. You could have just not made this and moved on, but you decided to make an entire video addressing it, and in the first minute of the video, you've already fucked up multiple times. So congratulations, you have accelerated this issue into one that you probably are not going to like the aftermath of. Let's just keep going, though.
He is very over the top, again, calling me the R-word and saying that I'm spreading misinformation.
I love how he is still caught up on that. Guys, he called me a bad word. Guys, he asked if I was stupid after I did something really stupid. Please have sympathy for me. Oh, I'm clearly not hurt in the way that I'm covering it, but I'm gonna make a bigger deal than I need to so I can farm sympathy points from the pussies on the internet, because they'll see another pussy and want to join him.
This will be a short, not very edited video, so other than telling you to quickly like and subscribe and join the Discord for a lovely community and cute cat pics, let's get into it.
I got a bunch of information wrong. I got called out on it, and so now I'm gonna pretend they're in the wrong.
Shout out to Rose from the Express Rain Discord server for helping me out with fact-checking a lot of information about Zenless Zone Zero.
You wanna know why he needs somebody to fact-check the information about Zenless Zone Zero for him? Because he doesn't play it. Just like he doesn't play half of the games on this list. He decided to make a free-to-play ranking. Decide which one's the best after not playing half of these games. It's just goofy behavior at a baseline.
So I gave Wuthering Waves a 7 out of 10 and Zenless Zone Zero a 7.5 out of 10, which, like I said, rubbed some people the wrong way.
This is another Genocide situation. The score didn't rub the people the wrong way. It's the fact that you considered yourself an arbiter of scoring without playing the fucking game or knowing basic details about it. It's because you decided to go ahead and apply these number ratings when you don't even know how the mechanics in the fucking game work. Yes, this is like you going into a wine tasting area. Imagine you went to Napa Valley and then you decide to start tasting wines without trying them. You're like, hey, can I get your thoughts about this wine? And then you go and start rating wines without tasting any of them. And then you start like presenting your scores to people. And you're like, wait, what do you mean I didn't rate them properly? You're rating the free-to-play friendliness of a game without actually even playing the free-to-play. And using the secondhand commentary of other people, not even looking up basic information like whether or not a game has a soft pity, and then just saying in your video, yeah, I have no idea if Wuwa has a soft pity, so I'm gonna rate Wuwa based off it not having a soft pity, because I don't know if it has one. When this is literally all you need to type in Google to find it out. It's not a big issue, 100%. But now you're over here defending yourself, saying, oh my god, it's because those curl bots, it's because I rated it a 7, and I rated Zenless Zone Zero above it. The curl bots are just mad that I said ZZZ was better. Nobody's mad because you said ZZZ was better. People are mad that you decided to start rating a game with no knowledge at all about it, and then start saying games are better than others. You are strawmanning the reason why people are upset with you to try to delegitimize the reasonable things that they're saying and make the opposing side look irrational, when you are the only person that has fucked up in this situation. Stop crying, pussy.
And totally understandably so, because I made some mistakes when it comes to Wuthering Waves. I also made some mistakes when it comes to PGR, but those are less important, so we'll talk about them in the end. The first biggest mistake I made was saying that Wuthering Waves does not have a soft pity system, and that's just completely my fault and on me for not researching properly. I'm not here to make excuses, but the reason I made this mistake was because
you don't play the game and you've never played it.
A while ago, when making my short series of rating gacha rates, I never saw it mentioned that Wuthering Waves has a soft pity system when researching the game.
What research? What research? I'm sorry, what does the word research mean? When the question is answered in a single Google search, you even see the numbers, that it starts at 66 or 65. What do you mean research? Why even use that word?
And I didn't directly search for that online. When I mentioned it in the short series, I haven't seen any comments correcting me on that. Again, completely my fault and I'm not making excuses, but
is your research using your own YouTube comments to verify things for you? Your own YouTube comments are the same ones that don't know about stuff like this. This is like going to an elementary school to get feedback on your college dissertation. You went to the local kindergarten and had 5-year-olds peer review your paper. Yeah, they found nothing wrong with it. They said it was good. What do you mean the score's bad? Wait, none of the people that I talked to said there was anything wrong with this. And the people that he talked to have fucking pacifiers in their mouth.
That's just the reason why I made that mistake. Wuthering Waves does have a soft pity system that starts off from 65 pulls out of 80. The next point that Saint argued, and while it's not a mistake on my part, just a discussion point, is that you have to view Frolova's weapon buff, as well as some 5-star characters benefiting heavily from other 5-star characters, from the POV of if you can clear the endgame content with or without it. Well, here's the thing. First off, I do believe that even if you can beat the endgame content without Frolova's weapon, or Phoebe for Zanny, or Rocha and Cantarella for Frolova as well, which are the examples I provided in the video, I do still believe that it's quite a strong F2P player trap that a lot of people will fall into.
You're calling it player unfriendly for a character to release. Hey guys, there are 2 teammates that buff each other really well. That's free to play unfriendly. Yeah, no other gacha game has characters that directly buff each other. It's like we decided to isolate this one argument for Wuthering Waves and use it as some sort of downside. Guys, the character's signature weapon makes their damage go up. Guys, this character has a teammate that they work really well with. Yep, like PGR doesn't have that, like Arknights doesn't have that, like ZZZ doesn't have that. Yep, all these other games don't have that. We're just gonna use that as a detractor for Wuwa. Because, like I said, we don't play the game and we're only using online discourse that we see complained about to formulate our arguments. Yeah, we're not gonna talk about the fact that Zenless Zone Zero... Hey, let me show you guys something. When another character in your squad is a support or shares the same faction, deal 60% more damage. Unless you use this specific type of unit on your team, lose 60% damage. This is what I mean by we're talking about it in Wuwa like it's the biggest downside ever. But we're going to not mention any of it in Zenless Zone Zero. Or any of the other games that we're covering over here. Hey, it's just an opinion difference from Saint right now. And Wuwa is especially predatory for making teammates that work with each other. But every other game, we're not going to mention it. We're not going to talk about it. And yes, Wuwa players talking about lack of equality, of how we're covering different things, of how we're hyper-analyzing one as a weakness while not talking about it at all for other games. The Wuwa community not being very happy with that one. Oh, that's a ding on them. Not a ding on me. What is going on here? Everything that I'm saying can be backed up by proof and your own video.
Seeing the insane buff your new character gets from a limited 5-star weapon or character is definitely a way to get people pulling, so...
Hey guys, having a limited 5-star weapon in the game and having a character that buffs another character. What game doesn't have that? And why does it need to be explicitly called out only for Wuthering Waves? The way he worded that was how it works in every single game. One character works better than others, and one weapon is stronger than others. What?
It is predatory, even though you can still clear.
ZZZ's weapons are stronger. ZZZ's team-ups are stronger. HSR's weapons are stronger. HSR's weapons are team-ups. And they're all on a 75-25.
With it, an insane number of people will be tempted to pull, and for F2P players it's not always the wisest thing to do. Again, you can clear with skill, patience, and non-limited units, but a lot of F2P players will instead take the route of min-maxing their teams. When you look at Pridwin, for example, they have Frolova at T0.5 for Whimpering Wastes and T1 for Tower of Adversity because Pridwin ranks characters at an S0 or 0 bases.
And so, Wuthering Waves is literally their new character releases aren't as strong, aren't overpowered, and at the top of tier lists. All that proves is that Wuwa mitigates power creep, and their newest character releases are even more free-to-play friendly because each one isn't stronger than the other. Wait, are we trying to prove that a game where new units don't, every new unit doesn't power creep is not as free-to-play friendly? When units not power creeping is the definition of free-to-play friendly? This guy managed to use Frolova not being tier 0 as a way to say that the game is free-to-play unfriendly. Guys, Wuwa would be more free-to-play friendly if every new release was tier 0. That's what this guy is. I don't know how else to read this explanation, because he's trying to use this to support his argument.
Meanwhile, she's most certainly T0 for both when you do have her weapon. I mean, just as an example that's even worse, Honkai Starro. And just FYI, you'll know I'm HSR's.
You want to know the best part? He said she's T0 for both if she has her weapon. This is the lack of research that this guy does. This is what Pridewin themselves said. However, provided you do have her signature, it's very safe to bump her up to tier 0.5. This guy is so lazy. He does so little research. He jumps to so many conclusions that he couldn't even read one sentence on Pridewin to actually be able to give what their answer would have been in this situation. He just assumes shit, gets called out on it, and then starts crying to his audience. Let's just replay this again.
Because Pridwin ranks characters at an S0 or 0 bases. Meanwhile, she's most certainly T0 for both when you do have her weapon.
She's most certainly. Man, I love how confident we are using terms like most certainly, when all we literally need to do is just the smallest bit of research on the planet. The smallest bit of research. You just got brother, you just got dinged because you couldn't Google one sentence. And now you're over here making even more generalizations, more dog shit takes, because you literally are too lazy to do any research at all. I don't even know what to say at this point. How is it so easy for me to be able to call out so much active misinformation that's being spread? It's zero effort at all. I don't know how one person can be this lazy. It's insane.
I mean, just as an example that's even worse.
So yeah, obviously, right? Let's take everything he's saying with an even bigger grain of salt. Knowing that this guy needs other people, he pulled up that ZZZ creator for a reason. This guy's too fucking lazy to look up his own shit. He's literally too lazy to look up his own shit.
Honkai Starro. And just FYI, you'll know I'm HSR's biggest hater if you look at my channel for 2 seconds, so don't go telling me I'm a Hoyoshill. In Honkai Starro, characters like Aglaya and Maide benefit an insane amount from their light cones, and their eidolons as well for sure, which doesn't happen in Wuthering Waves, but I did say it's a worse example of this. Anyway, Maide and Aglaya benefit a ton from their weapons, as well as their limited 5-star teammates, as well as someone like Castoris and many times Herda.
Yes. What are we doing?
Who is definitely way more F2P friendly to play, by the way. So these units can still clear a lot, if not all of the endgame content, especially when they first came out, back when they were still T0 units, without their light cones, limited 5-star teammates, and eidolons. Now, before anybody says anything, I'm not saying HSR is a good game for F2P players at all. Like I said, I'm its biggest hater, but I'm just speaking straight facts.
Is he trying to say that the new characters being able to clear MOC on release without their light cones is good balance? Brother. What are we... I hope that the new units without their light cones can clear in the MOC reset with the effect specifically tailored for them. I would pray to God that we're not living in a universe where HSR characters on their debut banner can't clear without their SIG. Because that would be ridiculous. A new 5-star DPS on their debut banner not being able to clear without their signature would be diabolical. And this guy's trying to use that situation as like, hey guys, look, the MOC buff that said your remembrance unit deals 7,000% damage. My remembrance unit was able to clear with it. Look, it's not predatory. What the fuck?
When these characters came out, and probably even still right now, they could clear without their absolute best in slot teams, but they definitely benefited a whole lot from their paid stuff, to the point where they could zero cycle. I feel like it's definitely a huge double standard when it's fine for Wuthering Waves to give its new 5-star DPS units such insane upgrades from their limited weapons and supports.
But it's literally not an insane upgrade. This guy is predicating his entire take on this idea that every character with their signature is tier 0. That is what his entire take is predicated on. And I see why he's so lazy in his videos. He looks up one piece of information, constructs an entire narrative in his head around it, refuses to do any more research, and then only looks up information that bolsters this one narrative he's decided to create. He has absolutely no flexibility. He doesn't want to look at any conflicting information. It's this easy to know that what we're saying is not correct, but he just won't even put in the slightest bit of effort. You won't Google search, and you won't read the changelog. One paragraph in for the tier list that you're looking at to see what the actual take is. You'll just assume it on your own, and then say, it's almost certain. Most certainly.
But it's bad when a Hoyoverse game does it. Oh, and this does happen in Zenless Zone Zero as well, especially with characters like Evelyn and Astra who are like peanut butter and jelly. I did neglect to mention that in the section about ZZZ in the previous video, and I was simply completely uninformed about that, and for that I do apologize.
Wait, okay, wait. Did he say he was just uninformed about ZZZ characters having buffs when they work with you? Wait, so you're telling me that he was not aware that this mechanic existed in ZZZ? Are you guys beginning to see what the issue is with this content creator? Are you guys beginning to understand how irrational every person in this comment section is? This guy is openly admitting to not understanding any of the mechanics at all about most of the games that he's covered in this review. He does not play them. He does not know the mechanics. He is misinformed about so much of what's going on. And when you call him out, you're the toxic one for sicking your community on him. He has no fault in the issue. He's too lazy to Google a sentence. Not his problem. Stop being so toxic. He's too lazy to read a changelog. Not his problem. Don't be toxic. He's too lazy to understand one of the baseline functions of the game that you would know playing it for 15 minutes in its tutorial. Stop being so toxic. What's your problem? This guy is putting in so little effort into verifying any of his takes at all. No information, no gameplay, no experience, and he's decided to speak as an expert across all of these games and give these objective ratings. Is anyone buying what this clown is selling? I hope not.
Apologize. Also, to clarify one thing I said about Wuthering Waves, is that its relic situation is better than HSR or Genshin, but not as good as the other games on the list.
Okay, so he's saying Echoes are worse than ZZZ.
and Saint interpreted that as me meaning that it's not a good situation, which is just not what I meant. I mean, it's a really good situation, but there's even better. Another big mistake I made about whether
He's saying disk drives are better than echoes, which I'm pretty sure you'd be comfortable saying that echoes are worse than disk drives if you played neither game. He's telling you which gear grind is better without playing the games. He's trying to say that echoes are worse or better than disk drives when he hasn't played either game. He hasn't experienced the farming. He hasn't experienced the upgrading. He hasn't experienced the gearing. And he's trying to tell you which one is better than the other. And he's saying, oh yeah, all these people say that my, disagree with my opinion. It's just their opinion. They're wrong. Who cares that I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about? If they're disagreeing with me, they're toxic. Huh?
Waves was completely forgetting about the free Shangli Yao and the Coral Shop. And this time, I have no reason for that. I just completely forgot about those. That's my...
Don't you just love that this guy's reason is? I just forgot. I was just uninformed.
Mentioning ZZZ's free 5-star selector for its anniversary while not mentioning Shangli Yao is definitely a yikes from me, and not mentioning the Coral Shop, which is something huge that Wuwa has definitely over ZZZ, is also a huge yikes. So
don't you notice that this guy just washes over him missing basic information about the game that you would find out within 30 minutes of playing, verifying that however he's rated the games is complete dog shit because he knows nothing about them and has never played them, and he's getting upset that people are saying his takes are not that good. This is like the guy trying to write like a fucking research paper, and then they don't even take it to ChatGPT. They take it to the homeless guy down the street and pay him a sandwich to write it for them. I've never seen somebody forget this much before. He spent the entire first 5 minutes talking about everything he forgot.
on to ZZZ, and I'm gonna start defending it here. One of Saint's big talking points is how apparently ZZZ has a lot of HP inflation and power creep. On paper, that seems to be very true, but you've got to look at the nuance.
He doesn't play the game, by the way. I hope you guys understand. He does not play this game. He did not know that things like core passives exist in the game. He is regurgitating somebody else's points, trying to pass them off as his own. He is continuing to just talk about things he has no idea. He has no idea because he has not played any of these games, experienced any of this gameplay, played any of these game modes, seen the HP go up in real time. He's completely uninformed, and he's decided to dedicate an entire 5 minutes to defending a game he does not play. If you don't find this to be one of the most baffling situations on the planet, I don't know what to say to you.
It looks scary to look at a chart and see how, oh my god, there's 110% HP inflation. And while it's also scary to look at the difference between Miyabi and Ellen, or how older DPS units perform against Miasma after Yi Xuan dropped, you have to look at the nuance. When the game
What nuance? You don't play.
first started out, the combat was incredibly simple and basically nobody enjoyed it. One of the biggest reasons players stopped playing the game when it launched, and in fact why I also quit the game after playing it for around 8 to 10 hours when it first launched,
was the TVs.
Was the incredibly boring combat.
This guy is saying combat is the reason why people quit ZZZ, and not the TVs. Alright, guys. I think it's time to close the video over here. You want to know one thing that really upset this guy? Was me coming to the conclusion that because his takes are so fucking bad, because his takes are so bad, so misinformed, and make so little sense, and that he doesn't play the games, I stopped watching his video. And he got really upset that I did that. And like, I kind of really want to do it again. Because right now, bro said combat is the reason why everyone quit ZZZ when it launched. And he doesn't even mention the TVs. Just keep watching. All right, fuck it. Okay, okay, we got more, I guess.
It was just spam left click with basically everyone until you win. Well, Hoyoverse already knew this, so to reduce fights being incredibly long and winding and boring, enemy HP wasn't that high. And before you say I'm sounding like a Hoyoshill, 1, this is just true, and 2, I literally built
proof. Do you have proof that everyone quit ZZZ because of the combat and it wasn't because of the TVs? He's just so confident saying random shit. He just straight up says it's true. Most certainly. There's no evidence. There's no proof. Everything he said can be disproven. The one meaningful change that they made to the game's combat is them adding a triple decibel system where every unit now has an ultimate meter. While for TVs, they straight up tried to remove 90% of them from the game. And he's telling you that combat, which got one adjustment with the decibel system, combat is the reason why people were quitting. Hey guys, people are quitting because the mobs don't have enough HP. Hey guys, yeah, people are quitting this game because the mobs don't have enough HP. That is the take here.
The base of my channel upon criticizing Genshin and Honkai Star Rail. Be for real, I absolutely hate Hoyoverse, but I also like giving credit where credit is due.
No, you're defending yourself in this situation because you got called out. You're absolutely fucking embarrassed that you could miss information this basic. In your haste to make this video, you proceeded to peddle even more misinformation that's easily disproved, and now you're going to continue to get incinerated for being a fucking complete clown. Oh, and also trying to call me out in the process as you're a clown.
So that they may one day make a game that has little to no issues with it and or continue developing ZZZ in the way they are right now without any bumps in the road, because so far, it's their best product by a long shot. Anyway, combat back then was boring because it was just spam your left mouse button and dodge until you win. And the players certainly complain about
that is literally the combat right now. Except you just need to pull the newest characters to be able to do that still.
that a lot. I mean, I'll be real, a lot of it is still...
It's the same thing, but the enemies have more HP. Like bro's out here, you spam left click, dodge, and then use your skill when the energy... What has changed in the game?
Like that right now, but...
Oh wait, you gotta realize, guys. He doesn't play ZZZ. He doesn't actually even play ZZZ, and he's telling you the From 2. I see why he's making this take, because he hasn't played the game recently at all. And so he's telling you about the current state of the game compared to the past one when he doesn't play the current... It's just, how do you make this video? How do you have this level of confidence? And how do you not have the self-realization that you're a complete fucking fool for even thinking about this?
But it's definitely a lot better than before with dodging, change.
How would you know? How would you know it's better than before? You don't play it!
Chaining characters, skills, and ultimates becoming a lot more important, especially with the new miasma mechanic, but we'll talk about that in just a bit. So, by contrast to how
you haven't fought against miasma.
ZZ was when it first came out, like I said, the combat became a lot more fun. Another thing that happened was characters like Astro Yao and very recently Yuzuha releasing that made a lot of characters very powerful. Astro Yao buffs virtually anyone, Yuzuha made a lot of units stronger including Jane Doe, who could clear basically all the content.
So you have two must-pull units, because otherwise the content is not playable without them. Yes, that's extremely free-to-play friendly. Within a year of release, to have two must-pull support units. You want to know what Honkai Star Rail's must-pull support unit was a year into release? They released Ron Mei, and that was like kind of it for a while. Honkai Star Rail now has two Ron Meis within a year of release, and you're saying it's free-to-play friendly. Of course, right? But he doesn't understand the dynamics because he doesn't play either game.
Even before Yuzuha's release, but is now simply a lot better. Oh, and by the way, Saint said that Yuzuha power creeps Piper.
Yes, clearly I was referencing Lucy and I got the names mixed up. Yes, I called Lucy Piper. And if you weren't retarded, you would know that I'm obviously referring to Lucy, because that's who I have on my screen when I say that. Oh, look, they're both two small blonde characters with short hair that are also in the same faction and have the same color scheme. Oh no, I mixed up their names when they're both blondes and in the Sons of Caledon, and both wear red and black. Like, this guy is talking about mixing up Lucy and Piper like it's something I should be shamed for. Which is just more proof that he doesn't play the fucking game.
Yuzuha is a support, Piper is a DPS. I don't see how Yuzuha power creeps Piper. Maybe Saint meant she power creeps Lucy, or how Yuzuha does replace Piper in a few teams, but even then, Piper's a 4-star, and so is Lucy. 5 stars outperforming 4 stars is pretty damn normal, and I see no issue with it. And finally,
you know what? I'll concede that point, right? A 5-star power creeping a 4-star, perfectly fine, right? But to the degree of it being a 1-minute clear, to the degree of it being a difference of 1 minute in the clear time, I personally think that's too much, because that is the difference in the current Shiyu defense If you use Lucy, you get a 3-minute clear. If you use Yazuha, you get a 2-minute clear. I agree that 5 stars power creeping 4 stars isn't that big of a deal, but a whole minute difference in endgame clear times? I don't think that's that good, to be honest. I feel like that's pretty bad.
Even without Astra, Yao, and Yuzuha, you can still clear with so many characters because all support units still work great.
Proof? Where's your gameplay of doing this?
Astra and Yuzuha just make things easier, so...
This is just this guy regurgitating a ZZZ Shill's talking points, passing them off as his own, and he doesn't play either game. That's why he sounds like he's just reading off of a paper.
With all these strong support units that buff everybody up, it'd be weird to not see HP rising in the endgame content. The proof is in the clears.
So this guy is saying, guys, it's actually free-to-play friendly for a game to make all of its new characters stronger, and for the devs to increase all the HP of the enemies. It's really free-to-play friendly for a game to release super strong, broken units, and then just make all the HP higher, so that if you don't pull the super strong broken units, you can't clear. Guys, having must-pull units where the endgame is impossible unless you pull the must-pull supports, that's actually free-to-play friendly. Because free-to-play friendliness is what the discussion is about over here. And this guy just said broken units and HP inflation to match the broken units is why ZZZ is more free-to-play friendly. The only audience you're cultivating over here are bona fide fucking idiots. Who's agreeing with you? Who's liking this? Who's listening to these points spat out by somebody that has no idea what he's talking about because he plays none of the games that he's talking about? And then he also just told you HP inflation and broken must-pull support units is free-to-play friendly. What the fuck?
This amount of HP inflation is not only fine, but necessary for the health of the game, because otherwise people would be clearing with Ben bigger.
Or you just don't make the new units broken as fuck, and you don't need to HP inflate. And then you also won't need the broken units to be able to clear. Because guess what you can do in Wuthering Waves? You can bulldoze the TOA with Verena, Mortefi, and Jian. Do you bulldoze Shiyu defense with 1.0 launch teams in ZZZ? No! Use a 1.0 team in ZZZ Shiyu. You will want to go do something in Minecraft. Use a 1.0 ZZZ team in Shiyu defense. You will fuck up the TOA in Wuwa. Jian, Mortefi, Verena, bulldoze his content. Easily still. And you're out here saying that power creep and HP inflation bundled with that power creep is good for the game. Only somebody that's either a shill or doesn't fucking play it would be able to say those words.
Oh wait, they already are. Also, if you want to talk about Zenless Zone Zero's meta and how there's power creep, maybe play the game properly, because I'm...
Wait, is the guy that doesn't play the game at all telling other people to play it properly? Is the guy that can't read, can't Google a sentence, and then also didn't even know that the game has core passives telling you that you should learn how to play the game? I think I know what this guy's research is. I think he goes into comment sections, he reads criticism in a comment, and then assumes it's 100% correct. Because this guy's like superpower is assuming facts from no information or incomplete information. That is like his fucking superpower. And then just drawing conclusions from there. I think he just reads random comments and decided to spit these in the video and then thought they made so much sense.
Pretty sure an ice DPS character would struggle against an ice...
You would know that Miyabi fucks up ice-resistant content if you played the game at all. Every single ZZZ player that isn't a shill or retarded would be telling you that Miyabi has been wrecking ice-resistant content up until recently because of the HP inflation. And this guy's trying to use this as an example of me not playing the game properly. Which he would only make this take because he doesn't play the game. The guy that doesn't even know that core passives exist is telling you that he knows more about the game.
Resistant enemy, and maybe pick the right Bangbu as well. Hey man, maybe you're the one that needs to keep up with ZZZ's meta. Even then, you still cleared. Now let's talk about Miasma and how it's...
What a person.
The most overblown gacha topic of the
Don't worry, you will not like this video when it's uploaded. We took your 10-minute video on 1x speed and we're getting close to an hour. I don't think you realized how actually stupid this video was.
century. So Yishuan is basically just there to make things easier. Also, a cool thing with Miasma is that, and to be fair, this isn't a discussion point, just something to point out, is that when you have a bad build, Miasma actually slightly helps with that because it does 15% damage to the enemy that has a Miasma shield when you break it, which you can do by all the special attacks, dodge.
You also know what a bad build is going to do if you have Miasma? The boss will spawn a second Miasma shield because you don't deal enough damage. And so you'll have to deal with a second shield because you don't deal enough damage with a bad build. But you wouldn't know this because you don't play the fucking game and have never experienced it.
Dodging and ulting. You also get half of your ult bars back when you break the Miasma shield, and Miasma is not a problem. It's very overblown.
The guy that doesn't play the game and has never fought a single Miasma boss is now telling you that this gameplay mechanic is not a problem. How does a person that does not actively play the game have such a confident opinion about any of these matters? Only 4 members of the roster having a clear time that's an S, it's definitely not a problem. You're right. M0R0, only 4 units on the roster have a clear time lower than 2 minutes and 30 seconds, which is the mark for an S. 4 units have it. Miasma is not a problem, though. You're right. Let's just ignore all the data points. Oh, wait. That's like your thing at this point. I'm super glad that you listened to a ZZZ shill and their dog shit takes on the game because their only goal is to defend the company. You listen to a ZZZ shill instead of literal data points that you can look up on the internet. But of course, right, you're too lazy to do a single Google search to find out if a game has soft pity before making a video on it talking about how free-to-play friendly it is. So is anybody surprised here?
Okay, now we move on to PGR, which is another game I made a few regrettable mistakes with. Again, I won't make any excuses, I just didn't research diligently enough, and the cause of that was probably because I was getting—
Okay, so that's about 7 different examples of where you did not research diligently and just have no excuse.
sick and tired of writing 5,000 words for the script and just wanted to get done with the video. I genuinely—
So you wrote 5,000 words, but you couldn't do a single Google search. I bet bro just copy-pasted idiot 7,000 times, and that's why he just had a 5,000 word count. Pretty sure he took his script right to ChatGPT, and the prompt was, make this only 50% correct. I think he's too lazy to even write a script. That's fucked up. I feel like he asked ChatGPT to write him a pre-fucked up script.
I do apologize for that, by the way. However, even with the mistakes that I made, I don't think punishing Grey Raven's F2P friendliness status is affected at all. Maybe the biggest mistake was saying it has harder player maintenance than HSR and ZZZ, and of course that turned out to be completely false, as a comment that I'd previously pinned had said, where that same comment also corrected me on a bunch of other stuff. And like I said, it's still an 8.5 out of 10, just behind Dark Knights, which may be Mr. Saint. If you watched the full video, you would know why Arc Knights is higher than PGR.
I didn't want to watch the rest of your video. You know why? Because you were on the record, straight up getting basic information wrong about the games in the video. And so I decided not to watch the rest of your video because I could verify you were just speaking out of your fucking ass. So like, now you're asking me, why didn't you sit down, buckle down, and keep watching my video filled with misinformation? Why did you stop watching my video when you know it's full of misinformation? Are you butthurt that you fucked up your video? You filled it with complete trash. You got called out on it. And because your video was so trash, I didn't want to watch the rest of it. You're mad about that. That's called a consequence for an action. I'm not obligated to finish a video in any situation. And I'm even less obligated to finish a vid where I know the author is literally too lazy to Google 5 words to verify an important piece of information about a game that they're reviewing. Too lazy to Google 5 words, and I'm the one that's supposed to get shit for skipping a part of a video. This is my take. I'm not gonna watch the rest of this one either, because we just spent about an hour and 3 minutes digging into how pretty much every single take you have in here is dog shit trash. Looking up even more ways that you've been hilariously lazy in your breakdown, making even more assumptions that you don't know are true, but you're using terminology like most certainly, or even in ZZZ's case, a game where you don't even know the core mechanics and your only excuse is, I have none. And then you're giving advice, talking about the state of the game when you don't even know that core passives are a thing. And you're telling other people that they need to educate themselves on their gameplay when you don't even play the game and you're regurgitating the points that were baby birded to you by a ZZZ shill. And then those points are saying that HP inflation and power creeping kits is free-to-play friendly. You've managed to break apart the entire basis of your video in the defense of your ego because you can't handle being told that you fucked up and were a lazy little boy when you were making this vid. You can't handle it. You're lashing out. It's a little pathetic, but you're lashing out. And don't worry. I'm glad that we got to the bottom of this because I think that you need to understand that, yes, you're getting a lot of likes. Yes, you're getting people agreeing with you, but these people are fucking stupid because it would take anybody with elementary knowledge about the games that you're talking about to look at your video that you posted right here and realize, what the fuck is this guy even saying? He's making up even more shit again. And honestly, Moose on Caffeine, probably the wrong name. Maybe Moose on Cocaine, Moose on Meth, Moose on Amphetamine. And ladies and gentlemen, we do have a bit of an update after, I think somebody has been watching my stream. And this is his summary of our entire 50-minute video. I just want to remind you of this. This is Mr. I don't want drama. I hate drama myself. And this is what we're posting in our Discord. Which, you know, definitely, I'm sure this isn't going to fuel any more of it. I think this speaks volumes. This is the type of person this creator is. Says one thing, does another. You see it all the time in this space. What a surprise. Moose on Amphetamine. I like that one. That probably makes more sense, especially considering the material on this channel. Let me know what you all thought about this one, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.